Balvir, while India has always been branded as a nation of savers, is it time perhaps that we instead recoin ourselves as a nation of investors? Is it time we do away with the age-old sentiment, given stock market performance and how much it's exceeded expectations, sir?
Well, good evening and thank you for having me here. I think so you have rightly said, from a nation of savers, we are moving to a nation of investors now. If you look at the trend that is happening over the past couple of years or last 4 years to be more precise, we are seeing people getting more excited, people taking more risks, people ready to venture with new ideas and come up with innovative solutions for investments also. So I think so. We are moving. People have now realized that it's not that I can just be a saver. They want their money to work for them. They are more eager to achieve more financial freedom at an earlier stage, and also I think so. They are more ready to get into entrepreneurship, put that risk capital, and try and achieve something which they haven't dreamt of previously.
Well, Balvir, if India is in fact becoming more financially savvy, nonetheless, there tends to be a huge discomfort when it comes to discussing finances. Even in the close circle of one's friends and immediate family, you can sense the hitchkichahat, you can sense the hesitation, right? What's your solution there? Because there, the Nifty or the Sensex or any sophisticated saving or investment strategy is not necessarily enough to change a mindset.
So I think so. What's happening now is parents are trying to become more open with the kids also. And I must admit here that I find kids more financially literate than parents now. So when we talk to kids of 25, 30 years who are getting into their startups, getting into their own ventures or starting their own financial journey, I've seen them become more financial literate. They understand finance, they understand the jargons, they understand what's happening, and they're very clear on what they want to achieve. And I think so it's time where as our generation probably at 50, 55 when we are, I think so we need to start focusing on making our next generation very, very financial literate. Because we have to understand one thing, we are creating wealth which we never imagined 20 years back.
Right.
And we have to ensure that our kids or our next generation is financially literate to handle that judiciously.
So, sir, if I were to speak for so many of the entrepreneurs right here in front of us, I think a commonly made mistake is sometimes the tendency to blur your personal cash flow with your corporate cash flow, especially if you have launched a business out of pocket with friends and family money, etc. There's a huge amount of guilt and confusion with respect to, separating church versus state. What's your comment on that? What words of advice might you have for our audience?
So we've been always maintaining that your corporate finance and personal finance have to be two different entities altogether. Your family comes separate, your business comes separate. People have been mixing up both of them for times, and even today we see people considering business finance as personal and vice versa.
Or refusing to give themselves a salary,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. And that is where, sometimes they don't get the true picture of their business also. Because if I'm not taking out a salary for the time I'm putting in, I assume that my business is doing very well.
Right.
But as if I were to replace myself with a person of my capability, then what is the cost I'm going to pay? And then does my business really sustain it? Is something which has to be seen.
Well, Balvir, one of the other problems, I think, plaguing this industry, or financial services in general, is information overload. There are so many misinformation campaigns. Everyone has gyan to give in whichever direction you look, and it becomes very difficult to understand and determine what's right for you and your situation, right? People, in fact, oftentimes are not quite even comfortable seeking out the advice of a professional because the industry is also plagued with a lot of mistrust, right? How might you respond to any of that?
Information overload is the biggest challenge we see today, because at a tip of a finger, you have everything, and people come back to you and tell that this is what should be done and not done to you, to a professional or to a specialized. I think so somewhere it is very important to understand that each person is different, each business or each individual is different. the way he or his family or his structure is different. You need somebody who can guide you, who can take you, who can navigate you through all this, whether this is noise or this is genuine or this is something, not to be looked at all. I think so. It's very important for people to understand that you need a professional. You need a professional who can guide you, who can give you a third eyes perspective.
All right, fair enough, Balvir. And I think broadly speaking, you must encounter, two types of clients. One are perhaps those that are plagued with inertia. They've like, I've missed the boat. It's too late. Ab to kuch bhi nahi ho sakta. It's done, right? And then perhaps there's the other optimist who's like, jab jago tab savira. Right, and you've got two broad camps there. And I'd like to know how your financial advice typically differs based on who you're dealing with.
So financial advice depends on person to person, depends on that person's behavior, that person's mindset, how he has encountered finances over the years. So just like you said, there would be somebody who's come with an inertia and says that now nothing can happen. As coming back to the previous point also, so we treat ourselves as coaches for people. So a coach is somebody who will always guide the player and tell that this is something which you are doing wrong and this is what needs to be corrected. Also, the coach is the person who can identify the player's potential. And he will tell the player that this is your potential and you can go up to this level, though the player himself may feel that he's not capable. So it is the coach who pushes him. So the same thing happens with us. When somebody says it cannot be done, we tell we are there to help you. We are there to take care of it. Be rest assured that this can be done. You just have to take the steps and take baby steps to start with. Once you feel comfortable, then we can increase, go forward, move at a faster pace. One category is the, just like what you said about the inertia. The other one says, okay, fine, it's not never too late, let's start. At least if I have made a mistake, at least they realize that they have made a mistake or they have been late. So I think so. For them, it's much easier for us rather than pushing them too hard. But again, you have to control their emotions because sometimes they may get too aggressive or overly ambitious. And they may say, okay, since I've lost so much of time or so much of bandwidth is gone, let's double up, let's go over aggressive. And there is where, as a guide, as a philosopher, as a mentor, we come into play and we tell, no, it's not necessary that you have to be too aggressive. We can go the normal way and still achieve what you want to achieve.
Phenomenal. And sir, you talked about mindset a moment ago. And when it comes to the Indian mindset, if I could broadly categorize us as a nation, we've always considered gold and real estate to be safe havens. Sir, in the current scenario, which is an unprecedented time in human history, given the global volatility that surrounds us in every direction, does that advice remain relevant, or is it long forgotten or deserved to now be completely done away with?
I think so. It still holds, to a certain extent, holds some ground. But we are seeing, just like what you're saying, these are times which we are seeing for the first time, or we are seeing in history we have not seen, or in the last 30 years of practice we haven't seen. One phenomenal change that we are seeing is the newer generation does not want to buy assets. They are not interested in buying a real estate. They are not interested in buying gold. They say, okay, fine, real estate, I can rent it out. I can use the other money somewhere else. Even in businesses, in factories. So I have a couple of friends who are running small industries, and they have started going with the concept of, so, their parents used to say, let's buy a land and set up a factory.
Right.
And today they are saying, why should I buy a factory, or why should I buy the land? Let me lease it out for 99 years, or let me lease it out for 25 years, and then I'll take a call. I think so. This is where a total mind shift is happening. And I don't blame them. It's very relevant. It's very practical. They are making extremely fantastic use of the capital that they have at hand. And they are very, very clear in what they want to achieve.
Well, Balvir, thank you for sharing so many nice nuggets of wisdom, so many tricks of the trade. It's been incredibly helpful. And we wish you all the continued success for what lies ahead, sir.